trace all 5 sides, and then once you've done that, you're going to cut both pieces out, and you should have your template. Now that you have these, you're going to use them to draw on your material. So I've already drawn a few of the triangles, and this is basically what they look like. So I'll show you how I do it. So you just take this and use something. I would recommend something like a one of these rolling ball pens, or like a gel pen, something that, like, not a ballpoint pen. You want something that writes really smoothly. Okay, so you draw around all the sides. Then what you do is, for all of these holes that you have, you just sort of like stick the pen in and just kind of like roll it around, just to make like a little mark for, you know, where to thread your needle. See? And that's what you get. You get your triangle with the 8 marks on each side. And you do the same thing for the pentagon. But again, because there's no holes, you just kind of draw around it. Here are just a handful of the pieces that I've cut out. When you finish cutting out all of them, you should have 12 of these and 20 of these pieces. But I just cut out a handful just to give you an idea of basically how it works. And here's actually one that I'm halfway done with. This is it has 6 of the pentagons stitched together, so that's what it looks like. And the actual stitching, this is sort of what it looks like. So we're gonna turn these into this. Okay, you can't really see it, but I've tied one knot here in my thread. Here's a needle. What you're gonna want to do is double knot that. So you want 2 knots, and I'll show you why when we finish up the first pentagon. You'll see why. But you basically want 2. See, now you got 2 knots right there. So every time, for each pentagon that you do, the first stitch always has to be, I know these are triangles, but just since everybody else uses hexagons, I'm just going to call these hexagons for the rest of this thing. So the first stitch that you always do is hexagon to hexagon. Always. So what you do is you take your hexagons, you line them up. Let's see, and then you take your needle, and then you see where that first dot is right there. You're gonna stick it right through there. Let me get my. I'm gonna stick it right in there. Okay, that's good enough. Whatever. Okay, so that's your first stitch. Okay, so the hexagon to hexagon. So now what you do is you take that one that you stitched into, kind of pull them apart to give yourself some room, and then you take the pentagon. So I marked, you see, I marked with a pen the side that is going to face inward. So this is the good side, the side that should face out. And the same thing with these hexagons. The side with the dots, this is the side that should face inward. This side faces outward. So when you're stitching the hexagon to the pentagon, you want the 2 good sides of each thing to touch. So line it up. You want to kind of center the pentagon on the dots. See where the dots are? You want it kind of centered. And then just use the dots, as like a guide. So, there's the first dot. That's where the thread comes in. This is the second dot. So I'm going to put it through the second dot. And yeah, it's pretty simple. You just sew in the dots. I'm gonna try and do this as fast as I can, just to give you guys an idea of how it works. So you just sew quickly. And, and make sure there's no, see, like right there, see where that thread is kind of, you want to make sure you don't have that. So an easy way to fix that is just to tighten up. See there, like this, tighten it up and then straighten it back out, and then that'll kind of get it nice again. Okay, so you go all the way until you've got one dot left. Can you see that? So there's one more dot right there. It's right there. So what you want to do is take another hexagon, triangle, whatever you're using, and then you want to line it up. Okay? And same thing as when we started. You want to go hexagon to hexagon through that last hole. Crap. It's kind of the pain of using that double thread. Some people just do single thread because it's a lot less likely to get tangled up, and yeah, it just goes faster. I don't know. I like the double just because I don't know. I feel like the bag's sturdier. So okay, so at this point, when you've got one side stitched, this is the point in time where you would gather. If you don't know what that means, that gather is where you tighten it up, and where you kind of like that, like the material gets those ridges sort of. This is the time where you would do that, or at least this is the time where I like to do that because it's the easiest. So what I do is I just tighten it all the way, and then I just kind of loosen it to be about what I like. It's kind of like just have to feel it out basically. And so once you get the gather you like on that side, you go ahead and just continue and just stitch this side using the holes, and then on the last hole, same thing. You want to take another hexagon, line it up, stick it through there, and then just on and on. And then I'll show you how to once you finish up with that fifth side, I'll show you how to finish it off. And one thing I forgot to mention, so when you're sewing the pentagons and you're doing the gather, it's really important that you get a consistent amount of gather on each side, and like between pentagons. Like, it's important that all the gather here is equal to all the gather here and on every other pentagon, because that is a big part of getting like that nice sort of like round look.